Basement Bookers Podcast.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Basement Bookers Podcast. It's me, Basement Jer, with Rich the Riz, the most Riz's baldest man. And this week, figured we would talk about what happened on Monday with the breakup of the Vision and I guess this is also after Crown Jewel and the return of Ilja Dragunov.
Waiting for Ilja to come back.
So I guess a quick rundown on the winners and losers of Crown Jewel. Winners, Bronson Reed, me, Stephanie Vaquer, there was another women's one.
Io
and Rhea Ripley. And Seth Rollins, albeit temporarily. I don't know. Did I miss anything?
No,
AJ
Cena.
Styles lost to John Cena, so John Cena, he kept it going. A lot of people enjoyed that match. Some people didn't. I thought it was cool that they went out there and had a good, fun match, unlike Bronson Reed and Roman Reigns. It's as a fan of Roman Reigns, it's a bit of a disappointment because it really wasn't his best match. It's more, it's Bloodline, it's melodrama, it's not even good Bloodline. It's, and it's okay to disagree on that because I knew going in that would be like an unpopular opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I personally, and I'll stand by this, I don't see what everybody else might see in Bronson Reed. I hope one day to be proven wrong, but he really doesn't have anything that I really care too much about. He wins the match, but he doesn't do it by himself. Roman lost the match, and he's complaining that people think he can't do things by himself, but he lost to somebody who can't do things by themselves. You can chime in whenever you want to.
Everything you said, I agree with 100%. I am not feeling Bronson Reed. The only thing for me that I pop for is the baby arms, which is fantastic. Everything else, mid. It was just another instance as far as the match, the structure of the match. It just once again came down to whose shenanigans is more cohesive. And Bronson Reed's were, whereas Roman's and Usos weren't. That was why Roman lost. That's showing the drama. I wish a whole PLE match didn't have to be devoted to that, or at least I wish it was a better match. It was not memorable. I remember some of the shenanigans at the end. Not a whole lot else. So I'm on board. Bronson Reed, not my dude. Still have my OG tribal chief, and let's see where they go with this iteration of the Bloodline.
Well, the other thing is that, maybe on here we've done that where we'll like dunk quote on AEW for, how lazy Moxley matches can be. And it's like this street fight stuff, it's just lazy. It's cheap.
Mm-hmm.
It's not lazy like, obviously, I don't know, every time, yes, people get hurt. They can be hurt very badly. They could also be hurt very badly doing ill-advised spots that we can talk about later. But the fact that you have to use this as a vehicle for Bronson Reed. It's like, okay, yeah, street fights. That's what got him signed. Oh, so not like, actual storytelling in a ring. Like, they can't do that. There has to be weapons. It has to be the referee looking like a chump. Every time, oh, it's a street fight, guys. The referee's powerless. It's like, well, what the fuck is the point? What? Just go out there, fight, do whatever the hell you want. It's like everybody knows it's a work. Yeah, we get it, but the whole point of it is to be in everybody. It's supposed to be treated real. There's no respect for any kind of officiating. This is lazy, like the whole bloodline rules thing. It's just street fight. It's just, you just put another name on it. I seen clips on X of Wrestle Dream, and there's Darby Allin with his head in a fish tank, and Moxley trying to fucking drown him, and just stunt man bullshit. Just throws him. Claudio from the middle of the ring just throws the guy like a crash test dummy. Like this, it makes the Foley stuff that people kept making fun of, it looks like Steamboat Savage. And just, it's so fucking, and it's like, oh, this is great. This is the best shit ever. And watch that fucking dumb fuck Meltzer just throw on these 59 stars on bullshit matches like that. That's why no one gives a fuck. That's why I don't watch that shit. Because it's shit when they do shit like that. And you don't, it's a shame, really. Because I like that AEW was around for people like Chris Statlander, for people like Tony Storm, okay, who I like. And they can be champions over there and make a great living and all that stuff. And there's a lot of guys I don't have time to talk about because we're talking about Crown Jewel. But I just wish they would put this shit. This used to be like a special thing. Every once in a while, you get like, oh shit, here comes a street fight. This is going to be sick. This is the end of the angle, maybe. It's like, no, it's just another match where you could just do fucking ECW bullshit. Okay, there's a reason ECW's out of business, and I don't know, maybe some people will be upset at me, and it's like, oh, you don't know shit, and it's fine, whatever. But I know what I like. That's why I like the Cena match with AJ. It's like, okay, yeah, but they just using finishers and all that, and it's like, I don't know, it's kind of fun sometimes. They're using all the things. Yeah, okay, Nostalgia Blade, fine, whatever. But it's two people I like, and it was like the face of TNA versus the face of WWE, and they're each like using opponents' moves that they faced in their past. And John Cena said he's doing it, because people he can't wrestle with on his end, but like be like, listen, I remember you. You contributed to me. You helped me, and this is what I did. So yeah. That's really all I had about the street fight, which not even in a street.
Right.
It's in the ring. It's outside the ring, and nothing special. Oh, kendo sticks. You find kendo sticks in the street all the time. Tables. They're all over the streets. Just go to go up to freaking Bay Parkway when they're selling the fucking socks and shit in front of the stores or whatever. Go ahead. Yeah, that's where there's street fights. That's where there's tables.
Yeah, they got all that. So, 3 things I want to say to that little segment. Just quick hit on Cena and AJ, like you mentioned. We're gonna go more in depth with it later, but fun match, maybe not for everyone, but have fun. That's why we watch wrestling, right? To have fun and let them have fun in the last match they're having together. Okay, there's that. Number 2, the AEW stuff and the street fighting stuff being glorified and everything. You don't have to listen to everything that Jim Cornette says. but listen a little. You know, you don't have to go out there and risk life and limb as often as some of these guys do it. Darby Allin, Mox, right? You don't have to do that so often to get over. And if you do, maybe, the technical wrestling isn't for you. I get it. It's not our cup of tea, I guess. Can be fun, but trying to drown someone. I didn't see that. I saw the chucking of Darby onto the announce table by Claudio. That was nuts. But again, you shouldn't have to do that every time.
What are you trying to prove?
Yeah.
Like, what are you trying to prove? Why are you taking so much time off your career? That shit comes off at the end.
Mm-hmm. And if I was saying, if that's what you need to do to get over, maybe the technical wrestling just isn't for you. Maybe I don't want to say maybe do something else, but just think about what you're putting your body through. There's a bump card. And I don't quite remember the third thing I was going to say, but I mean, ultimately, I agree with you on all that. Everything you said. Again,
It's for the sickos, Rich. You're not a sicko.
I'm not
it's
a
for the
sicko.
sickos. They like the sick shit.
Not my jam.
We already talked about it, really. I mean, John Cena, AJ Styles. I forgot to put the thing up for Bronson Reed and Roman, but everybody knows what they look like. Everybody knows what these guys look like. I don't have anything else to say, really, outside of, they said this doesn't really need a story. It speaks for itself, but it probably would have been a little bit better if there was some kind of storyline in here. Like, not one that we have to, like, put together ourselves, which when I did, I said, oh, it's the face of WWE versus, well, it was once the face of TNA, who's now in WWE, and they're doing their thing. Nice of Cena and AJ didn't know. AJ didn't know that John Cena was going to have a special introduction for him. And I don't think anybody else did. And I think that's really all I had to say about that.
Yeah. I thought, like I said before, I thought it was a fun match. Needing a story. I feel this must have been what they were saying when they said not every match needs a story, because I feel like if there was a story going into it, it would have been overshadowed by the kind of not so much spot fest, but the constant tributes that they paid to some of their opponents over the years. I think a storyline wouldn't have fit with the style of match they wrestled. That said, it was a fun match. If you didn't like it, maybe take some time away from wrestling, come back. It's supposed to be fun, you know. Bad crap is bad crap, but this was a fun match. Neither of them like put their bodies on the line to the point that they're risking their career. Not that they have much of one left anyway, but you know what I'm saying? Like they didn't do anything they didn't have to. They had fun with it. The crowd asked for spots, so they gave it to them. And it's two of the goats. So have fun, and if you can't enjoy it, I feel bad for you.
Yeah, certainly. I'd say, this is about to be AJ Styles' last year, 2026, he says. So, we'll see. Like, after the way John Cena's run was handled, I don't have any confidence whatsoever. You can't do it for one of the greatest, like a homegrown guy. I have no faith in them doing it for somebody who came in from the outside and really made a name for himself here, even though he already had a name.
Yeah.
All right. So this is where it started, the beginning of the end for you.
Yes.
Stephanie Vaquer versus Tiffany Stratton. Like I said before, Stephanie's on the way up, Tiffany's on the way down. And it's her first loss in however time. She even acknowledged that. She's going to have a match against Kiana James. Great waste of time, but probably setting up her and Julia probably down the line. The right person won. You can go in there, and I didn't really get a chance to see what anybody else had to say about it because, like, before we do these, I like to go in, with my own like stuff. It just felt like one of them is in there and they know graps, and that's Stephanie. And it's, the styles is just not. So I'm looking forward to seeing how a match with because like when you take the EO versus Stephanie and you compare it to Tiffany versus Stephanie, it's night and day. And the Roxanne, eventually the Roxanne Perez, I think they're gonna have a match, but it's gonna be something different, hopefully. And yeah, she's on a roll. She's 4 championships since she's been here. I think that's what they said. Yeah, if you count the Crown Jewel Championship, it's that's
Yeah.
4. NXT North American World Title, Crown Jewel Champion, in a year. You know, as far as communication goes, I think she's. I don't. It doesn't bother me. I think it's fine. I think she does. Because I understand.
Mhm.
Because it's easy. It's not a big deal. You gotta. She's working on her English. She's working, like what she said to Roxanne. She's like, "Listen, I know you lost, but that's not my fault." I like that. I don't know.
Mhm.
But yeah, that's all I had to say about that.
I agree. So, despite the fact that I thought Tiffany was going to win, I agree that it should have been Stephanie winning. Um, I agree. Stephanie's on the way up. Tiffy, maybe she's probably about to drop the titles pretty soon. Um, I like Stephanie. I think like she's great in the ring. Her English is not the best, but she gets her point across. She is easily understood. Her inflection is getting better. She's improving. She's working towards it. She's taking classes. I think Stephanie has a very bright future. I am looking forward to seeing what happens eventually with Tiffany and Julia. I like Julia a lot. There's a lot of parallels. There's a lot of comparisons, Stephanie and Julia, because they both come from Japan, did the indies and everything. They both worked their way up. They both came in NXT at the same time. They both came up at the same time. Stephanie is ahead, quote unquote. Julia is the US champ. So um, I like Julia a lot. I am not a fan of everyone that you mentioned. I'm not a fan of Kiana James. I'm waiting. I'm waiting to see her do something that I like. Until
I'm a
then,
fan of her
whatever.
outfits. What that's what I
Mm,
like too. I like
mm,
the Friday was like I figure we could all agree on that.
yeah,
We can all agree on that, but
can't be mad at eye candy.
I'm
But
not
I'm
sure
I'm
how
looking.
long that's gonna last though. So
Who knows? But I can't wait to see what they do with Julia as she elevates herself.
okay. Well, the thing about Julia is it's poor handling. It's poor handling of the Women's United States Championship, which can be blamed on the shallow pool for the competitors, fighting for it. Unlike this would have been a good segue for the United States Championship match that we'll talk about later, but we can't really skip around. But that's already been handled better, and I think Sammy had the belt for a shorter period of time than her.
Yeah, pretty sure.
I don't think it has anything to do with he's a dude and she's a woman. She could easily had her own like little open challenges or whatever, but she's a heel. We'll see with that. the second time. This is basically a case of Rich Deriz overbooking himself. Actually, no, wait. You overbooked yourself with that one too, with Julia shenanigans.
Yeah, I definitely overbooked the Stephanie versus Tiffany. This one I
Yeah.
don't remember if I overbooked. I think I did. I think I did. I kind of thought maybe EO would be conflicted, and that will cost them the
Yeah.
match.
That's right. I forgot. All right.
Mm.
So that all of that aside, what's there really to say here? Hometown hero with her buddy, her bestie. They beat Kyrie and Asuka. This shit's not over. This is wow. You were frozen. I hope that stays, but it usually fixes itself anyway. It doesn't come out messed
Mhm.
up. Um, but yeah, you could take it away on that one. I don't know what else to say outside of this shit ain't over, as Monday showed.
Yep, like it's not over yet. The whole everything they're doing there, it's becoming more fun. It's less cringe. I think they established that by just making Asuka like more serious, Kyrie a little less cartoony. I need her to be less cartoony. Um, and like I said, they gave Rhea, the hometown lady, her win. That was nice. Good match from four very talented women. It's I I can't wait to see where this leads. Definitely Kabuki Warriors and EO not over. I'm not positive if Rhea's still gonna fit in there, but see where we go from here.
All right, well, let's get to the main event. All right, I didn't. First of all, I don't think this was their best match. I think their first one and the Hell in a Cell, they're better than this. Not because of results, but it's just, you've seen it before. I'm not sure what the plan here is for, you know, I thought, I think the story now is going to be, as opposed to before where it's like, Seth, doing every single thing he possibly could. And because of that, he cost himself time because it looks like he's gonna maybe need surgery. But until I see the footage where he's in the Alabama hospital, wherever they do this shit, he's under anesthesia like they did with the Undertaker, and he's like they're literally cutting into his skin. I
Mm-hmm.
don't believe shit. So as far as that goes, but if it is real, you have to be the dumbest fuck. Like, why are you doing what purpose outside of a holy shit, here's a moment for that fucking coast to coast to do like that didn't have to happen. And it's so stupid. And it's like, yeah, what do you know, podcast guy? Well, I just know that this is where I get my entertainment from. I don't want the guy to lose time off of his career over something he really didn't have to do. He didn't have to do that. It's not like he's trying to. Are you really still trying to prove yourself? Are you still so insecure about CM Punk that you have to do stuff like this? It's not. You gotta be smart, man. You gotta be smart. And this is from not a smarter guy like you, Seth. Like you're the architect, and you're this big old genius. You foretell everything, but you can't. You couldn't see the margin of error for that. You know? Do you guys not practice this shit? Or is it only certain people that practice shit? Because it's crazy to me. Like, what do you think about this? Like, this is insane. You know, pull out everything. You had to do everything. You had to hit the man in the face with the watch that he gave you. And yes, there was a little bit of conflict in him for that. Why even have him win? Like, do you not know the severity of the injury? Do you not feel it yourself? And then you just go with that. And it's like, all right, we'll go with it. And then we'll get what we had on Monday. We'll talk about that after you tell your side of the story.
Well, just to speak on this, knowing the severity of the injury, I just want to remind you of Finn Balor and the first Universal Championship reign, which was a day, because he had popped out his shoulder during the match, popped it back in, and then he won the match. They're like, all right, he's fine, he can continue. And then doctors looked at it and said, no, he can't. So this could be another situation of truly not realizing how bad the injury is in the moment. Because, like, if you still got range of motion, all right, it's a little sore. It makes sense. It's a little sore. You just landed on it. Fine, whatever. As far as doing the coast-to-coast headbutt, I agree. I understand the concept of pulling everything out of the bag of tricks, trying new things, stuff your opponent hasn't seen before. I don't know necessarily if it was to get a big pop. I'm sure there would have been a holy shit, because coast to coast is not easy to do. We've never seen Seth do it before, to my bad memory. So I don't necessarily think it was just for the pop. I think it was to do something new, something that Cody wouldn't expect.
It wasn't even a finish, though.
No, it wasn't even a
It
finish.
wasn't even to win the match.
No. And the result was Seth injured himself, potentially. Honestly, I think I wish it was a work, but I'm pretty sure it's not, just because it's so soon since they worked us with the knee, that they're not going to do that again.
Well, it
So
doesn't
soon, at
make
least.
any sense from what happens after, but still, like, you can't. I just can't. I don't trust them. I don't trust any of those guys.
Yeah.
You know?
But either way, there's plenty of athletic stuff that Seth could have pulled out of his hat that didn't have to be a coast to coast. You're flying that far, you're landing hard. It doesn't matter where you land, you're landing hard. And we saw he hurt himself. Hindsight, you shouldn't have done that. I feel like both creatively and in-ring stuff, some poor decisions have been made lately. Given a few things here, I'm wondering, I think I said it last week or 2 weeks ago also, I'm wondering if Triple H is sort of, if his bag of tricks is running low when it comes to the creative direction of the company. I'm hoping not. I feel like he company was in a great place, the Bloodline and the compelling stories and Cody, and then when Triple H took over, he's like, all right, boom, I got this, and there was a bunch of great stuff, and then kind of fizzled. So whatever it is, get your mojo back. Meantime, Seth, get well soon, and work smarter, not harder.
There's a lot. There's a lot of There's a lot of things that I liked about Crown Jewel. Just to wrap up this review, which sounds a bit harsh, but there were highlights, and we stated them. If I had to wake up at 8 o'clock in the morning to watch this again, no, probably not. I'd probably wait until I'm more awake. Having the first thing you see is Bronson Reed beating Roman Reigns because Triple H just loves Bronson Reed so much and wanted to repay him for his loyalty for not being able to wrestle. And last time that they were out in Perth, at the, when he had to get replaced in the Elimination Chamber or something. It's like, I don't get it. So 3 out of 5. If you liked it, that's good. 3 out of 5 I think is also liked, just not 8 o'clock in the morning liked. We could shift gears to more 8 o'clock in the morning stuff with Raw, which was kind of the opposite. I felt like I benefited from watching it when it was on because I didn't get spoiled with the big reveal at the end of the show. If I had seen that while I'm scrolling through my timeline, I'd have been pissed off. It would have ruined everything for me. But, after Crown Jewel and, seeing what happened to Seth Rollins at the end of Raw it was like not a top 10, but not even a top 20, but it was one of the happiest days of my life. When I got to see them turn on him. And it's like, everyone's like, oh man, they're pulling out all the stops. They're doing this to flip the game up. They've heard you guys. They've heard the criticism. No, they had to pivot because Seth Rollins is hurt and he's not going to be the champion anymore. They're going to figure something else out. Monday, there's going to be a segment with the Bronze, and Pierce is going to have to say something, what they're doing. And man, I can't wait until the clever, creative minds at WWE come up with a tournament to figure out who the next, I just think the fact that CM Punk is the number one contender, that's going to have something to do with it. I don't know how they're going to shoehorn Braun Breaker into the title picture, but I feel like they're going to come up with a way where it's him versus CM Punk.
I think what they could do, what they might do, I don't know if they should, is Braun's going to say, I'm the guy that put the champ on the shelf, so I should be in the title match, which is a simple enough argument. It wasn't during a match, but a fair statement. And then that gives Bronson Reed the opportunity to give side and be like, I helped. So there are other things they could do. If it's just going to be Punk versus Breaker anyway, I don't want to see a tournament. But I don't know. From a sporting perspective, I understand what a tournament would do. It narrows the field, and you could have an upset. You could have an upset just to have the favorite win, if anything.
I feel like the argument of I took him out is not a good one. Like, I can understand where you're coming from on that kind of, but it's like, okay, yeah, anybody could assault the champion and, quote, take him out, when in reality, we know that Seth Rollins took himself out. You know what I mean? I really hope they don't go with that. He could because he's a heel, but you know what I mean? Like, when it's all right because he's a heel. Right? You understand what I mean? Like, it's okay if he does that because he's a heel. So, do it that way, fine. I have a feeling it's gonna be LA Knight. It's gonna be the same suspects, Jey Uso. It's like, well, maybe we can do something else. What if they do a battle royal? What if they do some kind of fatal 4-way type of situation? You can have LA Knight, Jey Uso, Braun Breaker. I really don't think that Bronson Reed should be in that, but with your whole, well, I helped kind of, if that's the case, if they go with, they took him out and they should be able to, it's like, okay, so it's going to be Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed working together to get Braun Breaker that belt,
Mhm.
to give him into the spot where he can face off against CM Punk at Saturday night's main event.
Mhm. They could even do a ladder
And
match between a bunch of guys for the title.
yeah, well, that doesn't seem fair to CM Punk though, right?
That's a
He
shame.
earned the number one contenders
Yeah.
spot.
Hmm.
Yeah, so, and this whole injury thing, it accelerated the timetable. This was supposed to be in like a year, allegedly.
A year, jeez. I can't
Yeah, they were.
imagine all of that taking a year. Like they for a year to show the cracks that they started showing like 2 weeks into the Vision storyline. I think a year would have been a long time. I'm down. I'm down to let things marinate. Let's do it over time. I think that would a year is a lot.
Well, we don't know what other like things could have been thrown in there. The one of the things going around was it was going to be Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker as tag team champions. For a long time.
Mm,
You know what I mean? Because then the Vision would have the tag team championships, and they'd have the world title, and they have the women's intercontinental championship. Who knows what they were going to do with Becky, if they were going to do something stupid and give her both belts, which, by the way, she doesn't deserve anymore. That's over. It's
mm,
done. I love Becky Lynch, but that's it. She doesn't need to have two titles. It's just a waste. You're not going to build the future by, falling back on that bullshit.
yeah,
Honestly, if it were up to me, I would have her lose to Maxine on Monday. That's an IC title match. But if they were intelligent, which I doubt it, they would have, Maxine, gets the break speed off of her. Hell, even maybe Jessica Carr has to take a bump, after her accelerated counting
mhm,
and, set up Natalia, the real one, with
mhm.
Becky Lynch. Like, get that shit going.
I'd
Take the
love to see
fucking
that.
kid gloves off. Let her
Hmm.
be the monster that she can be. Have her doing her thing. Beat Becky for the IC title. Yeah. Bret Hart's one of the greatest intercontinental champions of all time. It's time for a Hart to have that workhorse championship. Go out there, do some, open challenges for the IC title and make them kind of like when Kurt Angle, what's your name, where you from,
Hmm.
and just have her just beat the shit out of people, have them just, you know, uh, Natalia Neidhart open challenge.
Hmm. I agree. Natty deserves a lot more on-screen accolades. She's she's definitely one of the best. Period. Um, and she's I don't want to say she's doing nothing right now, but right now all she is a mentor to Maxine. Maybe that's where they're going. I hope that is where they're going because I'd like to see Natty with the IC title. I think that'd be great. It doesn't hurt Becky at all. It wouldn't even hurt Becky to lose to Maxine on Monday. Depending on what they do, of course. But I don't think even an embarrassing loss, it wouldn't hurt Becky. Becky is at just about at that Charlotte level, right? To where, yes, okay, we know you're great. You can stop talking about it now. Um, Natty, we know is great. I think a lot of the fans, us included, want to see her get a title, hold a title, be champion, do a weekly open challenge thing where she proves it. Maybe put a twist on it. And didn't when Kurt Angle was doing it, it was like a time thing. It was like a beat me in 3 minutes. kind of thing, right?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
I think something like that would work really well, and they could even use that, even if they don't want to have Natty be the real one right out the gate. Now they could use that to transition her. Say she's been training harder and harder, and we just see her become more badass, and just
Yeah.
transition over her IC title reign from the Natty that we know to the real one. I think that would be cool. I would like to, and it would do something more with the title than be a prop for Becky.
Yeah. For sure. Like, and did you know Natalia has a book? I haven't
No,
heard them talk about it. I don't know if it's out yet or what, but she's got a book and it's by her with, a lot you remember Paul O'Brien, and
hmm
she wrote the book and he helped out, forward by Dwayne Johnson. I didn't hear shit on that but when Becky's book was coming out, they couldn't shut the fuck up about it. What's going on here?
I don't get it. It's weird.
Um, yeah. Like on Amazon, it says free release day is October 28th. So maybe that's why. But like,
9 days
you
from this
figure,
recording.
yeah, you figured they'd mention it, but I haven't heard shit about it really. So just saying, just shows what they give a shit about. Um, so
It's a shame. Natty's great and needs to
yeah,
be portrayed as such.
yeah. So I think. Well, okay. Well, I'm not going to leave Raw without giving flowers to Dominik Mysterio. Probably one of his best matches to date. IC title defense against Penta. The hammer spot, the bell hammer spot.
hmm
It's really genius. He's able to distract the timekeeper and get the ring bell, use it on Penta, put it back in his boot, and you notice that the bell didn't ring when the
hmm
ref counted three because the referee, I mean, the ring, the guy with the bell, he didn't have it,
hmm
and Dom is able to get the hammer back there without anybody noticing.
hmm
Like gets it right back into where the guy was sitting. It's
hmm
crazy, and he just
It
gets
was
away
very
with
well
it.
done. hmm And
So
yeah,
like, hmm
Dom is. You can hear it from the fans that are cheering him, that he's earned the respect. Like, yeah, we see you working your ass off. We see you're clearly working safe enough that you haven't had an injury yet. He's he's great in the ring, and he's got that. He's not good on the mic, but he's good on the mic in that the crowd reacts every time, and his character work is fantastic. So the crowd is turning to liking him because we appreciate, we like what we see. It's throwback to Eddie, which warms my heart. You know,
yeah, I
it's
think
great.
Dominic Mysterio is Eddie Guerrero without the demons, and he's got the skill of his father. Like
hmm
this kid loves pro wrestling,
hmm
and I think he's good at talking because it feels real because I believe him.
hmm
I believe everything he says. And I also think that John Cena should wrestle him. I think he should be one of the opponents, because Rey Mysterio's wrestled John Cena. He's not going to wrestle him again. It should
hmm
be Rey Mysterio's son versus John Cena for the Intercontinental Championship, the belt that John Cena never won. You
Yeah.
know, I'm not sure if I'd have him beat him for it. I think he should. I think John Cena should beat him for the Intercontinental Championship. I really do. And whoever, and then not only is it would it be his final match where he's got to defend the IC title also. That'd be pretty freaking crazy.
Mhm.
Uh,
Also, I think it was a misstep to not have had Miz face Cena. in one of his last matches. They had such a strong, a major feud when Miz was on the come up. You know, I beat John Cena at WrestleMania. You know that. All right, so let's see what you guys could do now. Of course, Cena would win, but I think we should have seen it.
So what match would you have taken off the table? Brock Lesnar doesn't count because we all
Damn
want
it.
that off the table to get that match.
All right. Let's just let's not have turned him heel. Some of the stuff that he did then, boom, you got room for Miz.
Okay. Well, what I would have done, I tricked you because instead of match, I should have said appearance. Because how many times did he just go out there to talk and just get laid out? You know, those are wastes of appearances. So, you know, you could have had the Miz. I wouldn't actually mind it if like a babyface Miz tried to wrestle John Cena on a SmackDown, you know, for the championship.
Yeah.
And, you know, get his ass kicked, but still. Yeah, it's too bad they broke up Awesome Truth before that, because then you would have had your in after what John Cena did to R-Truth. You could have had the Miz try to get revenge for him. But you just couldn't help yourselves, you know? That's what they should have did.
Yeah, I just feel like post Mania, so many balls have been dropped, and not in a good way. It's
Because you remember, they were heels, and they were feuding against John Cena at one point back in the day.
Yeah, and to be able to rewrite this past year from Mania on, you know, just get the hell out of here, Travis Scott. You're not even around anymore anyway. Just all of it.
I really
Sad.
think Vince would have did this better. Vince would have taken care of John Cena. Like, he would have made this run better than it is. But we're not going to get that.
I like to think so.
Yeah, for sure. It's just so sad. So sad. But it's best not to dwell on what can't be, but to speculate on what will be. AJ Lee have a tag team title match against the Judgment Day. So we'll see what happens with those tag team titles. Rusev has a tag team title, IC title shot against Dominik Mysterio. We've mentioned the Becky Lynch Intercontinental title match with Maxine Dupree. We've mentioned what's going on with the Seth Please Don't Go championship. What's going to happen with that? Who knows when Seth's coming back? He could miss WrestleMania, which kind of screws it up. I heard the rumor was going to be Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, which would have been really good, probably, as long as it's not some freaking tribal combat with Seth Rollins somehow. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
So let's talk about, so Ilja Dragunov came back. He came back jacked with a neck tattoo. And I was nervous. I really thought this match was going to devolve into, here comes the MLK, MFT, whatever you want to call them, the milk toast Samoans, or Tongans also. And no, we got the full match. You know, Solo did come out to distract Sami, and a jacked Ilja Dragunov, you know, Torpedo Moscow, fucking H-bomb in the face of that ginger freak, Sami Zayn, which, fan of Sami Zayn. And that was it, 1, 2, 3. But then, of course, the Milquetoast Samoans / Tongans had to come out and just beat the shit out of everybody, just to set up the Wyatt 6. And don't be surprised if a female component to counteract Nikki Cross isn't inserted into the mix. There's a few people that could fill that spot. I'm not saying Tamina, but there have been some. There's an LFG woman's wrestler. She looks like she could fit into that. I forgot her name, but we'll figure it out. I think she was called P Nasty or something like that. But she's like a big girl, and she could be a good counter for that. But I think something's going on with that because they want all the belts back or whatever. Honestly, I would let Dragunov run with the title, for as long as you can. There were some questionable spots, like when they did that apron spot. I'm like, yo, he just came back. Why are we doing crazy shit like this?
Seriously, like I think his shoulder bounced off the rope. I don't even think his head didn't hit the apron. He did seem fine, thankfully. Ilja is a tough motherfucker. We've seen it. Wars with Gunter. Dude is tougher than nails. Glad he's back. Glad he didn't re-injure himself there. I don't know if they had to give him the IC title his first match back, but
U.S. title.
U.S. title, thank you. Sorry. But I'm looking forward to a good, strong, long run. Let's see if he continues the open challenge.
I'm glad they gave it to him because I'm sitting there and I remember earlier I was talking to my mother while texting. We were texting and she's like, "Well, what do you think is gonna come up and challenge Sami Zayn?" It's like, "What about Trick Williams?" I'm like, "Well, if it's Trick Williams, he'd have to win. If you bring somebody in that's like hasn't been there or has come back, they have to win because otherwise it's like deflates the sales, I really thought it was going to be like when Sammy fought Cena and Brock came out. Brock's like, it's a real eye roll with that guy. That John Cena thing really put a bad taste in my mouth, man, and in a lot of people. I still don't understand why they did that. It was one of those things like, what do you have to prove here? What is there to prove here?
They got social media buzzing. That's what they care about now.
I don't know if it's so much of a buzz as it's like, that's it. He's gone. He just disappears. It should have been, and maybe you're right, but WrestlePalooza will go down in history as a failure. It doesn't matter that you had Brock Lesnar there. And I get it that they wanted, you could have put him in a match with anybody else. It didn't have to be John Cena. If you wanted Brock Lesnar on your show, it didn't have to be John Cena.
Especially the type of match that it was.
Is John Cena even going to get his match back? Is he going to get the win back? No.
Nope.
And it's because he's a good guy. He's got everything he can. Or I don't know, maybe it's karma for the stories we heard about people that he's kind of put the kibosh on their pushes, But we'll never know.
I don't know. Like Bronson Reed, Alex Riley, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, you say Alex Riley's like Bronson Reed?
Yeah, it's like, well, at least in Alex, like you look the part, but what are you giving me? What's
well, you
fresh,
know what Alex
new,
Riley
what's
would
different?
say? He would say it to his face.
Say it to my face. That's right. I forgot
Yes,
about that.
like that. He would say it. But yeah, well, I don't know what else to say here for this Crown Jewel review / bullshitting about Monday Night Raw and SmackDown thing here. So if you had anything you want to...
Crown Jewel, 3 out of 5. I agree. It was slightly better than mid. Definitely not great. I think Cena and AJ was the highlight. Stephanie and Tiffany, I remember feeling like that match seemed to end abruptly.
It was short.
Yeah.
It was short. I think they might have gone a little too long in the previous match, which of course was Roman. Well, not previous, but it was on the card, so it might have taken up more time than it needed to.
Yeah, maybe. Raw, the ousting of Seth and Seth's injury, and then SmackDown, Ilya. Those are the highlights this week.
Oh,
Go-
well, we forgot one thing, though.
What was that?
Jacob Fatu. So
Right.
Jacob was supposed to wrestle Drew.
Mm-hmm.
And while Jacob was talking to Cody, you could see Drew in the background. Like he was
I
in the
missed it.
background watching them.
Did I miss it? I think I missed it.
Yeah, he was chilling when they were talking.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's meant to put it into your head that it was Drew that did that. I don't think it was Drew McIntyre. I think it could have been Randy. It could have been Randy. Now, the rumor, what I'm hearing is that Jacob had a dental procedure.
Okay.
Which could explain why they decided to have fake teeth, fall out of his mouth or something for that spot there, because he was bleeding from the mouth and on the floor. It looked like teeth.
Yeah.
With that thing on him. It's like Randy Orton could easily push that thing over, and just take the guy out. Because Randy wants the belt.
If someone knocks your teeth out, how do you not see who it was?
Well, it could have been, like I said, like what
could have been shoved from behind, or
let me see if I could pull up so I could show you the scene of the crime.
Mm-hmm.
I'll put it in a second. All right, so. So this is on the WWE YouTube page. So you see this thing is on him.
Mm-hmm.
And it, like you said, it's like, well, how did you not see them? Well, they could have pushed it. Now, I don't know if you noticed, there's a certain pretty deadly fella just out here, just looking on.
Wilson.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, over there. So that's a red herring. He's got nothing to do with this. But, did he see something? Did he see what happened? Okay, so you see this heavy thing on Jacob. It could have easily been pushed onto him. So he might not have actually seen who did that. And it's like, okay, did they push that on him? And then he was out for a little bit. And then they just kicked him in the face, like kicked him in the mouth. That's a possibility.
All right.
We don't know. So let me see if I can see on the ground here. You have some fake ass teeth. Yeah, because Jacob's got a grill, But yeah, it could be teeth from other places. I don't know if he has like a J grill that just comes off and CM Punk could just put it in his little trunks pocket or whatever. But he seems fine here.
Yeah, I see bottom teeth. I see top teeth, but
yeah, could have been from the back or whatever. Wrestler spitting and coughing. So I'm trying to see if this. So this is when Drew came out. Yeah, this is when Drew comes out. It's like, well, if Drew did this, he's out there just casually walking out, and you could say he's got a smile on his face because he did it. Or if Jacob's out, that means he should just have, he went out there. He wanted the referee to raise his hand. It's like, okay, this guy's not going to wrestle me.
Yeah, his scheduled opponent can't face him, so he wins by default, making him the number one contender, which is what Drew wanted.
Yeah, and Cody can come out and accuse all he wants. He's like, oh, we all know. That's not exactly, that's not admission of guilt. But now, Drew McIntyre has a disqualification victory over Cody Rhodes.
Yep.
Because Cody fought him, he was dressed to do businessman stuff. So now, and this is Why do they always save the heels? They always save the heels because Cody was about to crossroads or whatever, Drew right onto the announce desk, and they save his ass. But
To
they're
make it
never in time to
unfair,
save a babyface.
nah,
It's
they gotta make it
interesting.
unfair.
I
It
I also
creates
think,
sympathy for the face.
look, I don't mean to accuse Nick Aldis of impropriety, but I think there might be something to that too, because they're friends. Because Drew gets away with a lot of shit.
Mm.
For all the complaining he likes to do about Cody and saying everybody's in his pocket, Corpo Cody, whatever the fuck he wants to say,
Mm.
Nick Aldis looks out for Drew McIntyre. Drew gets away with a lot of shit.
Yeah.
So it would be interesting to see what happens with that. A lot of people are like, oh, they should have Drew beat Cody.
Mm.
I wouldn't be against that. But if anything, it'll inflate the title reigns for Cody. He's already a 2-time WWE champion.
True. I don't mind Drew beating Cody. Like give Drew a run with it in front of the crowd.
I would like for Drew to either introduce a new finisher. You could keep the Claymore as like a prelude to like a real finish that doesn't have to be hit 4 times for you to win.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I don't know what you do because I'm not a wrestler, but
Mm-hmm.
I just either that or just make it that the Claymore is actually effective. That it just takes one.
Mm-hmm. I could see using the Claymore as a setup for some sort of for a submission move. Maybe something like a crossface. Both attacking the head area,
Yeah, I've never
head
really
and
seen
face.
Drew do anything like that, so it could be something interesting for him to try.
He could bring back the Future Shock DDT.
Well, it's still a DDT that's been destroyed, by non-sellers and like they treat the DDT like it's a regular move.
Yeah, true.
But yeah, they could do that. I mean, Moxley's got his own kind of deal. It's
Mm.
kind of a DDT. It still kind of works.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, I don't know if Jacob's gonna. The rumor with Jacob was because I knew before SmackDown came on that something was up with Jacob. They
Yeah,
were
you
saying he
did.
was gonna be out till 2026, but and they advertised this throughout the whole thing. I'm like, oh, okay, so it's still going on. It's like, no, I thought maybe they'll write him off,
Mm.
which is kind of what happened. Maybe we don't know
Mm-hmm.
the extent of the injuries or this procedure, so it could have just been like, okay, just maybe after main event, something like that. What if it's Jacob Fatu versus Drew McIntyre for the world title? You could get
That'd be
something like
cool.
that going. It'd be
Mm-hmm.
insane.
I wonder what the procedure was because after Cesaro, did his thing, he was only out for a week or 2 weeks, and he was wearing the mouth guard.
You know
So
what? Like, if you think about it, it was Wrestling Observer. So they
mm,
don't. It could have been that they're like, yeah, 2026 could just be. No, just this Friday he can't. He can't wrestle. It's a little bit too close to when he had
yeah,
to have the procedure done. So yeah,
yeah,
he's not going to be
they
able to
just
do it on SmackDown or whatever.
they WWE fed them the line of 2026. They ran with it so that they can get the big pop when Jake comes back in 2 weeks.
It's also a good way to give buzz to your mark ass website shit. All right, I think that was actually it. I think we got it. 'Cause I
All
needed to
right.
make sure to get that. Blake Monroe can't just she can't take up a whole segment. You know what I mean? She was out there for a little bit. Cost Sol Ruka and them, but
Mm.
yeah. Anyway,
Zaruka is the tag team name, sort of. I hope it doesn't catch on because Fraxium, whatever. So let us know what you all thought of Crown Jewel, Raw, and SmackDown down below. Let us know what you think they're gonna do with the Vision, with the Seth's Please Don't Go title, with Cody and Drew. Let us know all that down below. Also, As always, we know more than half of you are not subscribed, so please do us a favor. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. It would really help us out a whole lot. And as always, Joe's got a parting message.
The match of life is scheduled for one fall. So make it count.
And do what the man says.
Follow the bookers.